to our trivia question, and it is, how many states produce more potatoes than Maine? And the answer is 6. They are Idaho, Washington, North Dakota, Oregon, Wisconsin, and Minnesota all produce more potatoes than we do, although we did produce 11 million barrels of potatoes last year. Most of those potatoes, of course, come from Aroostook County, which is potato country. And did you know that Holy Cross College almost, sort of, kind of, got his start there as well? It's an interesting story, and it's really the story of the town of Benedicta. Even on a hazy day, Katahdin dominates the view west from Benedicta. Potato farming has been the dominant trade here, and the Catholic Church has dominated society. Jane Cummings works at St. Benedict's Church.
Still pretty central, not like it used to be when I was growing up, but not. There are still some activities that are central to the whole community, but the whole community is not all Catholic anymore. But everybody participates.
There may be no more Irish Catholic community in Maine than Benedicta. That's because Bishop Benedict Fenwick started the town back in the 1830s. It seems Benedicta was a social experiment, according to Dr. Michael Connolly of St. Joseph's College.
The problem was that as the bishop looked around, he saw that the Irish were coming from rural parts of Ireland and settling in urban America, you know, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Boston, and they ran into certain problems there. One of his fears was that they might lose their religion, especially in majority Protestant areas. So he searched around to try to find a rural area where land was available, could be purchased at not too much money, and they settled on this area.
Bishop Fenwick bought a half a township in northern Maine. As Irish immigrants arrived in America, the bishop helped move them along to Benedicta. Christina Hesketh was a Quayle and knows the story of how her ancestors came to the town.
The first time they went up, they hired someone to take them up, and they got as far as Mattawamkeag, and there was no road. So they had to dismiss the horses and walk up, carrying the babies and everything else. They said it took weeks to get up there.
A problem with transportation is a central theme in Benedicta's history. When you look at the road in, it's hard to imagine bringing all your worldly possessions over it back when it was just a footpath. Regardless, Benedicta thrived. Soon 500 mostly Irish immigrants were pursuing the American dream by clearing land and building a town.
It was a struggle to get here, but that's part of it, because the parts of Ireland that they came from were also very isolated regions. Connemara, the regions out in West Galway, were different from this, but similar in the fact that they were isolated.
Along with farms, they built a shingle mill and a brick factory. Of course, a fine church was important, and Bishop Fenwick had a dream. He wanted to build a seminary to train priests.
And this would have been the largest seminary in all of New England. But it was too isolated for that, and eventually the Catholic Church decided on Worcester, Massachusetts.
And what did the seminary become?
Holy Cross.
Benedicta moved along, generations giving way to generations. A road was built into town, but even in the 19th century, goods had to be moved north to a railhead in Sherman Station before being shipped south to Bangor. As small family farms began vanishing, more Benedicta men went to work at the mills in the Millinockets, and the now third and fourth generation American children left town. They too went north before going south, because when Interstate 95 came along in the 1960s, the government didn't build the exit plan for Benedicta. Therese Albert remembers when the entrance ramp was finally put in about 20 years ago.
Oh, it seems a lot better, more in contact with the rest of the state.
While Benedicta shares a priest with the Millinockets, the church still remains important in the town, and it has recorded the history of the town in its stained glass. The windows were dedicated by the Kellys, Sweeneys, and Leans, and up top you see a Celtic cross, pine trees, potato barrels, Mount Katahdin, and even a cow. What a wonderful place.
If you look at the farmhouse behind us right here, the Quayle farmhouse, that's 175 years of Quayleys, Rushes, Cliffords, McAvoys. other families being here, generation after generation, it was a success.
Benedicta did not become New York City. Really, it's just a place on the side of the road, a quiet place where it's nice to pause and consider the beautiful land around us and think about our interesting and curious history. Wouldn't it be great if they had Division I football in Benedicta? That's our show for this evening. If you'd like to know more about what we did tonight, be it Eagles or Bob and Chris Elliott, our old Bob Elliott, or even Benedicta, check out our websites, WCSH6.com, WLBZ2.com. Find the Bill Green's Maine section. There'll be more information, including a blog from me, there. Thanks so much for being with us. Enjoy the summer, but please join us again next Saturday night for another edition of Bill Green's Maine.